and Bitcoin is the good song that you can play forever. Like you could just play one good song.
It's a song everyone can dance to. I'm like, you know what? We're in the gold rush. I want to get out there. I want to stack sats. But now I'm out here and I'm just like, my whole attitude's changed. Thinking about the amount of sats I can buy, the opportunity that I have. The funny thing is when they even told me, I have some Bitcoin, I don't even think they do. I think they have XRP.
Oh my God, you're so right.
I got one of the hundreds.
What a great point you're making.
My friend, he said, I have no extra money to stack sats. And I said, bro, if you got Uber Eats and you just got 2 orders a day, you keep it on in your downtime. And if you get an order that's $20 for 2 miles, when I'm DJing, I might just print it up all night, or I might have to shut it down and give you some rare cuts.
So you have that good energy.
Bitcoin energy.
Amplify the signal by liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing this video. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Bitcoin Nova. Today I have DJ Gnarly with me. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited to talk to you. So you're a Bitcoiner. You're a Bitcoin DJ.
Yes, through and through.
Through and through. So do you DJ regular music or do you DJ Bitcoin lyrics with music, or what do you work on?
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I do love to do Bitcoin stuff on top of my music. I was going to have some nice samples ready to go for you, but for some reason it wasn't working when we plugged in the DJ program, and I don't want to keep fiddling around with it. We'll be doing that all day. But it's a lot of fun to do that. But if I'm just at the club, like I have basic, like a Michael Saylor, like There Is No Second Best, or there's like another couple that I use like periodically. I don't want to, do too much. When I go to the bars to DJ, or if I'm hired for a wedding to DJ, it's not what I want to play. It's what they want to hear.
True. Yeah. So this is your full-time. You're a full-time DJ.
Full-time DJ. I'm basically blue collar. I'm not someone who can say, hey, I'm DJing at the Blind Barber tonight, and the place is going to be filled up because of me. But I'm very good at my job. I'm really, really intuitive, and I have a vast music knowledge. And I spent my whole life making music, from playing the bass to all sorts of creating music. Me and my brother put out 4 albums or 5 albums with me rapping and him rapping, and so fun. So yeah, it's basically been music my whole life. But when I'm out DJing, I focus on what the people want to hear. I don't try to force anything down their throats that they don't want to hear.
Well, that's what makes a good DJ, because if you can sense the vibe or the energy in the room, you either want to keep that energy going or you want to be able to change it so that people can party. And you really need that. If you don't have a good sense for what to play or what would get that group of people excited or amped up. And I'm sure that sense helps you when you look at the world around you and have a feeling about how things are, and an intuition that you could use that same intuition to understand what's going on in the world and how you found Bitcoin.
I love how you put that. I've never put the two together, but it is really interesting the way you put that, because when you're DJing a room, Questlove, one of my favorite, he's a drummer. He's the drummer in Roots, and he also is on Jimmy Fallon. I believe he's the drum player in the band that's on the side. But he's a very, very knowledgeable musician. He started DJing X amount of years ago, and he does a DJ show. And he said one of the most challenging things is when you're at a big party and you have one person come up to you who's very predominant. You want to impress them, and they ask for Whitney Houston or something like that. And then you have someone on the other side who's maybe their son or daughter of a very prominent person. He was actually talking about DJing in front of like Obamas and stuff like that. So I could imagine the pressure that he was under, DJing these huge parties. But when you're in that situation, you do have to navigate it with a certain kind of like a certain kind of class, because you don't want to be rude, you don't want to undermine the people that are asking for requests, but you do want to keep the vibe going, and you want to add to the night. You don't want to take away from the majority of the people that are there. And sometimes someone could have a great request, or someone could have a really bad request.
So do you just deny if you think it would be, or do you wait for the right time to play that request? Or if it's just like a terrible idea, you're like, nah,
You
or
know what? I'm a sucker for a good tip. If you come up with a good tip and I look around and I'm like, this I gotta play this. $20 for, a 2-minute song. Of course I'm gonna play. I'll be able to pick it back up and get to where I need to be. But if it's like just a really, really bad request and you give
Mhm.
me like, still tip me, I will probably put it off a few songs, make sure I can get to a certain vibe, and then maybe jump on the mic and let everyone know, hey, grab your drinks. We're going to get the party started in 2 minutes. We're going to get the party back to how it was and let this person have their fun for a second. But it
Mhm.
is interesting to navigate the world of DJing and then to see the world of finance and Bitcoin and kind of
Yeah.
correlate the two is really interesting because I never thought about that, but yeah, you see at night, how different people are in the room. You have so many different walks of life. They all want to be accommodated to. And in the finance world, you have so many different walks of life. Everyone wants to be accommodated to. And I feel like when I'm DJing, I might be like Jerome Powell or something. Like I'm in control of the money printer. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I might just print it up all night, or I might have to shut it down and give you some rare cuts.
I love that you compare it to Jerome Powell too. Like you're in charge of the vibe, where he's in charge of the vibe of the, I don't know, the country. Like interest rates are high, people are pissed
Exactly. Oh my God. Well, I would obviously like to think I'm, the opposite of Jerome Powell. He's keeping the mess going, maybe, but at the same time, I guess he is keeping the party going.
because they need that money printer to keep the party going, right? If they don't turn that on
The
and
whole
have
thing
that,
collapses, right? I think says that, they need inflation to continue. They need the money printer to stay on. I'm sure other Bitcoiners have said that too, but I believe it's Jeff Booth that
mhm,
says that a lot. I think it's actually really, really true, and it's really funny to think about.
yeah.
The
Or
second the
Lynn
money printer,
Alden. Like Lynn Alden says,
yeah,
nothing stops this train.
so the money printer stops, the chaos starts because now you're already seeing what's happening with I don't know if Trump's stopping food stamps or something like that. I'm kind of
Oh,
out of the loop with politics, but I
mhm,
know there's a lot going on with the government shutdown, and I've been
mhm,
seeing a lot of people get angry, I guess is a very light way to put it. So the money printer stops, the chaos starts, the craziness occurs, but then the awakening takes place with everybody realizing, wait, there is something better out there. When the dollar's falling daily. I mean, I really pray this doesn't happen because I want it to be obviously smooth. I don't want people to be in chaos. But if the dollar is falling daily, like the Turkish lira, and it's dropping 50% a month, I think people will be forced to understand Bitcoin, and it won't a you won't be getting orange pilled like we are right now, taking our time and reading books comfortably. You're gonna be incarnate. Give me how do I get this off exchanges?
I love that you say too that, you know, the the party is going, but then there is chaos and then there's the awakening because and that's why the more people that could read between the lines and have that into if you're paying attention to the stuff that they're not actually saying out loud. So just like when you're at a party, they're not holding up a big sign saying, "We don't like what you're playing." You have to just understand. You have
Understand it.
to feel it
So
and you have
true.
to know it. So
It's
I
so
think
true.
people need to do
You
a
got to
better
give them.
job at being better at listening to that inner voice that there is something wrong and you have to be able to figure out what's wrong and how to fix it. And Bitcoin is the good song that you could play forever. Like you could just play one good
It's a
song.
song everyone can dance to.
everybody is happy.
I love that. That was so well put. So yeah, it's really interesting. I love that you put it like that. It was actually really funny a second ago, not to change topics, but I've been putting a lot of uh, Uber Eats content on X, and I've been putting it on YouTube. So I'm getting a lot of little bit of love. But I'm just saying, I got some extra time. Let's get these satoshis. We're in the, I like to say it, the gold rush of Bitcoin for the next 10 years, like Michael Saylor says, and it's going to be a lot different in 10 years from now than it is
Yeah.
today. And that's with AI too, and a whole lot of other stuff, not just Bitcoin, right? So I'm doing some gig work. I'm running around doing some Uber Eats for some orders. And I don't know if you heard, I mean, for some Satoshis for some orders.
Mhm.
But I got one of the orders came through while I was sitting here. And it
Oh,
was,
really?
yeah, it was too funny. It started going ding, ding, ding. I said, oh, I thought I turned that off. And it
Oh,
was
so do you have to, like, go, or do you have, like, a
no, no, you can so Uber Eats is really cool because I think it's really cool because you can kind of just keep it on all day long and it can give you different orders. So here's the interface of it. I'll move it over so you're not seeing where I live. But that's the interface. So you just go online and once you're online, it'll send you requests. So if you're in a busy area, you have a lot of restaurants around you, you can basically stay at home and it'll say, do you want to drive this slice of pizza 10 blocks over, which is, like let's say like a mile for $10. And if you feel like that's a good deal, then you can take it. But if you're like, I'm not getting out of my house for $10,
Yeah.
you can just deny it.
Oh,
And then
cool.
they might send you another one that's, uh, $10 for 10 miles. Well, obviously that's a little ridiculous, but then they might send one, here's $40 for 2 miles. So you can keep it on all day long and
Oh, that's
deny
awesome.
deny all the orders you want. You don't have to take any of them. It's cool because I said to my friend, he said, "I have no extra money to stack sats, And I said, "Bro, if you got Uber Eats and you just got 2 orders a day, you denied all the other orders, but you just kept it on, when you didn't have work, obviously, you didn't have anything else to do, but you keep it on in your downtime. And if you get an order that's $20
That's
for 2
amazing.
miles, that's 20,000 sats, right? That's close to 20,000 sats. Yeah, it's 20,000 sats.
You're right. This is the gold rush. This is like you hustle to do what you can to save whatever you can in Bitcoin. This is how you save money, and Bitcoin teaches us how to save money again. And you don't have to say, I need this job or that job to be able to get more Bitcoin. You need to get any Bitcoin, and you need to
Yes,
hustle and get what you can and freaking grind for it. You know what I mean? It's like, this is like, do you want, I mean, if you understand Bitcoin, you will get 20,000 sats at a time, whatever you can get, and just keep building. So, yeah, you need to understand, use your intuition, figure out that there's a problem, and find a way like this. So, you're doing these events, you're doing them on the weekends or at nights or whenever people hire you to do DJing services, but when you're during the day, you can do something like this, and it's like it gives people the ability to have any job, just have a job, just put in work
I love
and
it.
do your proof of work and just collect Bitcoin, just save in it. Like that extra money, if you weren't doing Uber Eats, you wouldn't have that extra bit of cash to just go buy the Bitcoin and save it up. Um, but because you're doing this, you're spending that extra time that you would just be doom scrolling or sitting on your phone or being lazy or something, and you're actually putting in some work and you're just stacking it up, and that
I
compound
love it.
growth is really powerful, so people that don't understand Bitcoin yet, you just don't think it would make a difference. You don't think it's really going to help you in the future, but compound growth, like, I mean, it's the idea of, and I don't know how to say it right, but would you choose to have, I don't know, $1 million, or would you choose to have one penny doubled every day for 30 days
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
And it's like the
And the
penny
penny's
would be
way
way
better.
more money.
Yeah,
So, compound growth is powerful, and it's
very
something that
powerful.
Bitcoin gives you. And hustle, it's the gold rush. It's the it's, do what you're
Love it.
doing, do what DJ Gnarly's doing. Figure
I
out a
love it,
way. I
thank you.
didn't know that you could do this with Uber Eats, I almost said.
Yeah, you think you have to
Um,
go on and you're stuck on for X amount of hours and, you might be overworked, underpaid, but that's not typically the case. You can just sit there and deny orders all you want. I
mm,
got a order a few weeks ago. It was $40 for, 1 mile.
that's crazy.
$40 for 1 mile. It just came up as 30 or something like that. It was for a bunch of beer. It was like a party or something. So I got there, the mom answered the door, and she was just the sweetest lady. I gave her everything, told her, "Have a great day." I was
Mhm,
really in the good spirits and, listening to some, Michael Saylor or Matthew Cratter podcast and just, happy to be able to stack sats and have this opportunity. So I'm getting out the car like jolly, just with good energy. She just like, "You have great energy." She's like, "Thank you so much." I'm like, "Do you need me to bring it in, like, the drinks inside? Is everything good?" She's like, "You're good, sweetie, just right here." I'm like, "Have a great day." I take off, I close the app, open it a few hours later. She gave me an extra $10 tip, and sell $40 to for 1 mile drive.
yeah, and because you have that good energy, you know?
Bitcoin energy, the
Bitcoin
Bitcoin
energy, hope,
it's hope.
hope and
It's so
possibilities.
true.
I want to give a shout out to Bitcoin Solder. I love this brand. I love the design. Check out this amazing company. Use code EXTASY for 10% off your order. Check out chewfug'em.com. Life's too short to let the bad vibes stick. When life tries to drag you down, you don't fight, you chew. Fug'em is for the moments you'd rather keep your cool and let your gum do the talking. Because Fug'em is FU gum, designed for those who don't follow. Check out the shop now with the link below. Also, they accept Bitcoin. Wear your vibe, show your style, and own the moment.
It's so
Yes.
true. I want to take it back a little bit and just touch on a quick point with this, Bitcoin energy, hope, good energy. When I first when I was growing up, in LA, there's always ups and downs, right? You always have ups and downs. But at one point, I was going through a rough patch, and I was trying to figure out what I could do for some, extra money and to pay my bills and whatnot. And I ended up jumping on Uber Eats. This is like I think when it was still Postmates, and this is a long time ago. It was much more difficult back then. You would get to the restaurant, wait around 30 minutes sometimes, and they would be like, it wasn't as seamless as it is
Yeah.
today. But um, I remember at the time thinking, "This is so embarrassing. I can't believe I'm doing this. I really hope I don't deliver any food to anyone I know. Like that'd be so embarrassing. Like if someone I met, someone I just met, or somebody I've known for hundreds of years. I'm only 25, 26 at the time. But in your head, you feel like you should already be somewhere. You should already have X amount of, status, and especially here in LA with everyone driving nice cars. I grew up in Beverly Hills, so you can only
Oh, wow.
imagine the kids that grew up in Beverly Hills. A lot of them are, very well off. So I'm doing this, and I remember seeing a few people that I went to school with or used to work with, and I said, "Oh, this is so embarrassing," and it kind of crushed my spirit a little bit. And I ended up getting, had some great friend group, and I was talking to some of my buddies at the time, and they were telling me, "Dude, you're working. That's the only thing that matters. You're saving up, you're working." And that was like one bright thing. But fast forward to now, I have a better savings. I'm in a much better place. But I'm like, you know what? We're in the gold rush. I want to get out there. I want to stack sats. I want to, do the most I can to get them as many sats as I can. Michael Saylor's buying up, 100 million bitcoins every week. He's got hundreds and hundreds of big, but I can get as many sats as I can. We can still
Right.
do our part, right? So now I'm out here and I'm just like my whole attitude's changed. Every single time I, get a order, I'm just so happy. I'm like thinking about, the amount of sats I can buy, thinking about the opportunity that I have, thinking about the knowledge I have, and you know, it, it really doesn't matter what you do
Yeah.
compared to it did back in the day. Maybe like as long as you're stacking sats, obviously it's better to have a better job, make more money, and stack more sats. But these days, if stuff happens like some of these people are saying, I was listening on a space the other day, and I think it was Gary Cardone. He said, I'm going to have more money than Germany because of, I guess the German, I'm not sure what their currency is out there. Maybe that's not I can't remember.
I don't remember. I just know that they sold their Bitcoin
They
position.
sold all their Bitcoin. That's what he was alluding to, saying
Yeah.
their currency is gonna be so low and Bitcoin's gonna be so high that I'm gonna eventually have more money than Germany. And, so in that sense, you're gonna have some lawyers, some very, very, predominant people in this world that just did not wanna get the Bitcoin boat. They're always gonna feel like it's too high. They're always gonna say it's too, expensive. It doesn't matter if it crashes down to 10,000 today, they'll say it's gonna go to 5. When it gets to 5, they'll say it's gonna go to 2. And, it doesn't matter if it keeps going up either. These Some people will say, "I missed the boat. It's over. I'd rather stay safe and do what I know and, you know, continue down this fiat slavery path." And it breaks my heart because obviously we want to wake up as many people as we can, but this is the reality of it. I want to just tell as many people out there as possible, no matter what you're doing to stack sats, you're ahead of 99% of the curve.
Yep.
um, just do it,
I
stack.
I think that who people who have to hustle to get Bitcoin and people that understand Bitcoin now are very blessed because, if you had a better paying job like some of those lawyers or, doctors or something where you have a higher paying job, you wouldn't be needing your intuition yet to notice the things around you and notice the changes happening. You wouldn't really be feeling the pain and looking for rescue. So you're more blessed and that's why your attitude has completely changed because you went from being embarrassed to doing something that now you're excited and you're proud that
Proud.
you're doing this because you're like, whatever I can do to make extra money to stack sats, this is what you need to
Such
be
a
doing.
blessing.
You're literally your whole energy has changed because of it.
And it's
But
so
it
crazy.
just it's you're blessed because it makes me think of the quote, "The meek shall inherit the earth."
Wow, I love that. I love that. It's so true how, when you're working for fiat, even if you're working really hard, you're incentivized to spend so much. The money's not going to do anything, so get a classic car. Then you could feel cool. You're driving down the street, and the car will appreciate if it's the right classic car, and you take care of it. Um, Buy property. The property will appreciate. You're going to be stuck living here for the rest of your life. You're not going to be
Mhm.
able to move. No, I'm just joking, but yeah, you're gonna be tied down to a mortgage, but your fiat's not gonna be wasted away. I was doing the math in my head last night, talking to some friends, and I said, if you have $100 in the bank and inflation's going up 8% a year, that means in 10 years, 80% of that $100 is now you have 80% of it is gone. So you basically have the purchasing power of $20.
Yeah, and if you
Um,
think about that, that's best case scenario you're giving
that's
them.
insane. That is
Yeah.
insane. And, obviously, yeah, like Twinkies might be the same price, but if you want anything that is healthy or
Mhm.
rare or desirable, it's going to be way more expensive, maybe
Yeah.
10 times that. Yeah, you're totally right. It is
That's crazy. It's like the
crazy.
shit will take a lot more shitty money to buy, or no, the shit will still cost less shitty money to buy because it's just gonna make you sick and not good for you, and the system doesn't care. But the stuff that matters takes a lot of that shitty money to buy in the future.
Yeah,
Crazy.
exactly. Like it'll just stay the same, maybe go up a 2% or whatever they say inflation is. But it won't be anything of value or health.
My favorite thing to remind people when they think that inflation is 2% or 8% is that they manipulate the data that's included in the inflation measurement.
Oh
So
yeah.
I love to remind people that You might think it's even 8%, but they're not including food, energy, or shelter anymore, where they used to include those things. So if you think about how much your grocery bill has gone up in the last couple years, it's like 40%. So I
Crazy.
mean, inflation is
Crazy.
bad.
Insane. It's yeah, so then you change yourself over to a Bitcoin standard and you see abundance. Everywhere you look, you see abundance. You see the opportunity in the future. You want that nice car? Wait a few years, or you
I
want that,
agree.
you want that those shoes. Maybe they're not as cool as you thought they would be.
Like, how do you feel looking back now, looking back at your Beverly Hills life growing up and looking back at those kids that you used to maybe admire or envy? Do you feel sad for those people? Because, like, how do you feel looking back
That's
now?
That's really interesting. I don't think I spend a lot of time like looking back and feeling bad for anyone. I hope everybody's on a positive, journey, and I hope that they're finding substance and value in their lives. I don't exactly know what everybody's doing. I do know I just DJ'd my 20th. It's the year above me, the 2005. I'm 2006, but maybe that was too much info. Erase this. No, I'm
No.
just showing. But I DJ'd the 20-year anniversary for the high school for my for Beverly High, and it was just 2 weeks ago, and it was a blast. I gotta say, it was a
That's
lot of fun.
awesome.
Everyone was there. Everyone was in really good spirits. A lot of really great people I
Oh,
went to
that's
high
so
school with.
great. Well,
Really,
and then
really,
you
really
realize as you
great.
get older too, like your priorities change and your, whatever you are, valuing in life changes and your, just your whole personality kind of shifts and you mature, so you're a whole different. Mhm.
100%. And yeah, it seemed like most people that were there were in very good spirits, and it actually made me feel really good to see a lot of them. But I did tell 95% of people that I was into Bitcoin.
Mm.
And I started saying, I got to stop telling people because they're probably all going to be talking behind my back. This guy's a nut job. But I probably told about 95% of people I talked to that night that, do they know anything about Bitcoin? Are they invested? Do they know how many, just random questions. And nobody knows.
Isn't that crazy?
Few people are invested, but they're invested on Coinbase. They're just like the bear investment. A once upon a time investment. They're not consistently buying or anything like that. And it was pretty interesting. So many people were like, "You have to teach me. You have to teach me." And I was like, first thing you have to learn is it's Bitcoin only. And they were like, "Wait, you don't mess with Ethereum? You don't like XRP?"
Nope.
It I'm like, "Heck no."
Nope.
And the funny thing is that, yeah, I think when I said, when they even told me, I have some Bitcoin, I don't even think they do. I think they have XRP or Ethereum
Yeah, they
after
think it's, oh my God,
they
you're so
think, yeah,
right.
they think it's like, "Oh, yeah, I got some of the coins. I
Oh,
got one of the
what a
hundreds."
great point you're making. People say I have some Bitcoin, but they don't even have Bitcoin. I am sure of it. The ones that say they do have no idea. They think it's all the same. That's
Yeah, you're like,
crazy.
or they have, like, $10 in Bitcoin and
Ah,
then
that makes
thousands
me
in XRP.
that kind of blew
That's
my mind because
hilarious.
I'm sure that happens so much. Oh my goodness. If you
But,
actually said, "Well, which which crypto do you have?" They'd be like, "Oh, I don't know, like the 13-cent one. That's the one I have."
Yeah,
Um,
it's gonna be Bitcoin, I heard. But I had a friend who kept telling me he had Bitcoin, and we used to live in a really nice apartment complex. It was a very great place to live because very inspiring. So many great people there, and working hard and just good people. And one of my buddies who we work out every day together, and just like around the same age, really good dude. And I telling him, "Yo, Bitcoin, man, this is crazy. This is on the rise from 30 to 69." And I was like, "I can't believe this is happening." Like, I didn't really understand Bitcoin at the time either. I was just trying to get more fiat. But he told me, "I got Bitcoin too. I got Bitcoin too." And I'm like, "No way." I'm like, "How many, like how when did you get it?" He starts telling me his whole story. I'm like, "This guy's got more Bitcoin than me." I'm like, "What the heck's going on?" He shows me his folder. There is his Coinbase. It was Bitcoin Cash.
So
I
it's
said, dude,
true.
this is not Bitcoin. I said, you don't know. I said, this is, he said, no, it's, I said, no, no, no. I said, this is big. He said, I thought that's the same thing. It's like better though. I said, no, dude.
I
I said,
love this
completely
story.
different. Completely different.
Thank
I
you
thought
for
he had like
sharing.
4 Bitcoin. I'm sitting there like, what is going on right now? This guy doesn't
Oh,
even care. Yeah,
and
no,
if people
he had one
understood why Bitcoin is different, they would know why we're reacting this way. Because Bitcoin is different. It is not like
much
those other
different.
ones. Do not call other coins Bitcoin for the love of God.
Completely
Um,
different. There is no point to do Uber Eats for XRP. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys.
yeah.
You're doing Uber Eats for Bitcoin Cash, you're just gonna go backwards.
You know
Better
what
to
I
save
told
in
somebody?
fiat.
Because there's always going to be gambling in the world. People will always want to gamble and try to get rich quick, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
I told a friend of ours who he actually did do this, but he was asking a lot of questions. He actually wanted to learn about Bitcoin. And if I told him if you want to gamble, um, buy Bitcoin, sell your XRP, buy Bitcoin, but get a lottery miner. I'm like, that's a better gamble than buying lottery tickets. It's a better
This
gamble
is
than,
the way.
yeah,
The way.
right. So I'm like, if
I
you're trying to gamble, you run a tiny bit of a light bulb worth of energy in your house and possibly win a Bitcoin block.
imagine. And this is actually a huge orange pill for me, I found out recently. I've thrown everything at the wall at some family members. Here's the Michael Saylor
Right.
interview. Here's God bless Bitcoin. Watch this, watch that. Nothing's working. Finally, I'm like, yo, a solo miner, lottery mining, found a block, guys, and I showed him an article and broke it down. Everyone's texting me back. How much
Yeah.
are those?
And
By
guess what?
the
When you
way,
win that lottery, you win it yourself. The government doesn't win it as well, because when regular people win the lottery,
wow.
they take like half.
Wow. That is such a great point. Yeah, it was
Mhm.
actually really cool because one of my most loved human beings in this world, my older brother, he actually started uh, texting me back a bunch of like Bitcoin mining knowledge. He was chat GPTing, but I was like, this is so cute. I was like, thank God he's getting a little interested here. It
Right.
just meant a lot to me. Yeah.
That's
So that
great. I mean, it's really nice to see that when people are actually asking you questions or, um, actually following through. But like when you were at your reunion, when you were DJing there and people were asking you, like, I need to learn about this. How many people that have no idea about Bitcoin have reached out asking any questions after that day?
0.
Right. Isn't that's
It
another crazy
is.
thing.
It is. I actually that reminds me though, there's one kid I met recently, a young kid. He was a busboy at one of the bars I DJ at. And I told him I was just in a good mood that night, and I just whispered in his ear, I said, buddy, Bitcoin, you gotta do it, you gotta learn about it, it'll change your life. And he actually DM'd me on Instagram a few days later. I sent
Hmm.
him a YouTube link to like either Matthew Cratter's like beginner
Hmm.
list or something, but I need to reach back out to him because I would love to take him out for a drink and just see, even a coffee, juice, whatever, but just see he's at and try to help him in any way. I feel
Right.
like mentoring, the youth and helping
Yeah.
them understand Bitcoin is so powerful and it
Right.
just means so much to
But you're
everyone.
right that, like, talking about a lottery miner to people is such an orange pill because then they realize, oh, you could actually win a Bitcoin block and they happen every 10 minutes. And I know it's
And
super
I don't got to
rare to
buy a
win
new
it
ticket.
compared to the lottery, but at the same time, it happens every 10 minutes. You don't have a Powerball happening every 10 minutes. So it's happening a lot more often. And, it's all yours if you get it. You don't have to pay half of it away. So it is a really great orange pill because this person that I told them about that, they went and sold their XRP that night, and then they were like, if I'm gonna gamble, I'll just buy a couple lottery miners and hope I win, and then it's like, then you don't
I
have to
love
worry
that.
about trying to trade. Because I told him you're gonna just get your human greed is gonna take over. You're gonna see XRP pumping, you're gonna say, "Oh, well, if it hit, this much, it's gonna hit that much." And then you're always gonna wait too long to sell it, and then the people holding the bags are gonna dump on your ass. So
A
they
story
know.
as old as time.
Yeah. So it
It
was
happens to
definitely an orange
everyone.
pill. Yeah.
I get frustrated with friends that I see continuously do this. And it's 3, 4 years later and they're still doing the same thing. They have no savings. Every time they get money, they're hitting the S coin lottery and they're just throwing S shit at the wall hoping it's going to stick and just praying that one of these meme coins is the next Doge or something like that. And I think it's the definition of insanity. One, because they keep repeating the stupid stuff, and also it's just depressing because you just like,
Mhm.
man, if you were just buying Bitcoin this whole time, you would be actually able to take care of yourself.
So for people who might be watching this that don't understand Bitcoin, why why do we say it's not too late?
I love that question. We say it's not too late because Bitcoin is finite, 20 million Bitcoin. And fiat is infinite. So when I say that, this Uber Eats order that I just did for $5 is actually could be $5 million in the future. It sounds insane to the average person right now, but it's actually not that crazy when you look at, all these falling currencies go down and go down and go down and go down. So it's
Yeah.
never too late, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But maybe when it gets to $1 million, I don't know what the sentiment's going to be at 1 million. I still feel like we're going to go to 10 million. I feel like from 10 we're going to go to 20. From 20 we're going to go to 100 and beyond. I don't know if the dollar is still going to be the value of account. If that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, that's exactly true. I think that whether or not it's based on dollars of any sort, it will be based on the energy that the network uses to mine these coins. And
Such a
you
good
can
point.
buy much more real life goods or services or things you need in the world, and it will take you further, than anything else because just looking at the Bitcoin supply schedule is what blows my mind. Just seeing how it is finite, like you said, and it is tapering off. So it looks like it's like infinity almost, like the way it's tapering off. Like it's just so tiny and it's just going to keep getting smaller. So even when you think it's going to hit 1 million, it's going to go to 10, it's going to go higher, and it'll go higher faster as that infinity little point is
True,
like
true,
stretching on for freaking
true,
ever. Right
true.
now, we're at this point where we're going like this with the Bitcoin supply schedule, and then it's going to just be like this, straight
So
almost.
insane. Yeah,
So
10
we're
years from
only
now, it's
how many
basically
years
done.
in? 16 or so?
Mhm. 16,
And
almost
it's like a
17 now,
total
maybe.
of 100. I think the 2140 it's done being mined, but obviously Bitcoin will just be circulating at that point. But just to think that it's only been 16 years and we have till the year 2140, this is just the beginning. And when you talk about 2020 from the price going to 69,000 and dropping to 16K or whatever, I mean, so many of us know about choke point 2.0 and how, crypto, was attacked and everything and no regulation was given and all that stuff. But I personally feel like, not only was that suppression, but I still feel like we're in this suppression, even though we've doubled since.
100%.
Yeah, it's definitely, I feel like we're in such a massive, and if you feel the same way, but we're in this huge shift and like massively inflationary period of time that we're living through. And I think that there's so much that is trying to be done as far as longs and shorts and people trying to just play with this system that's a finite system that people have not been used to. People don't know anything like this. It's something totally new, and eventually it's like the game it'll be game over. Like people won't be able
So true.
to keep screwing around with it. It's going to just be out of their control. It's like trying to capture a tornado, I think.
So people
um
don't understand anything about, or they've never seen anything like Bitcoin, like you just said, right? Because the finite supply, it's just something out of this world, right? We've never seen anything like this before. There's no true finite in the world that we know about. Um And then there's the fiat world, and people, they don't believe, they don't understand the Bitcoin, and they've never seen anything like this. And then there's the fiat world where they don't think it's ever going to end. They think for some reason it can keep going on and keep going on. And when you tell educated people, yo, like, does it, isn't this a little scary? Isn't the shit gonna hit the fan soon, for lack of a better term? And they'll look at you like you're crazy. They'll be like, It's been going on forever. It's been working forever." And you tell them about the four turning. Every currency changes after about 100 years. It's been happening since the beginning of time. Eventually, they get too manipulated and too controlled, and they just get printed to oblivion. And it's happened, since the beginning of time, since we were, the Incas were using the rubies, right? And the Europeans found out how to get the rubies faster. It's always happened since the beginning of time. So, where is the proof that this can keep on going with no severe consequence?
Yes. And trying to explain that to somebody who is highly educated is interesting because it can be a handicap almost for people because you think you know so much. You think, why should I be listening to you who hasn't studied finance and I have? And you're trying to tell me about something that I've studied, and it could just be something that suppresses those types of individuals' intuition.
They don't want to hear it. They
Yeah.
don't wanna hear it from someone like me, especially. So, "Oh, you do Uber Eats? This guy doesn't know anything," you know? And just DJing too, the DJ world, DJs in general, we're party people. We, love to, create vibes. We're very smart. We're very, highly
Intuitive.
educated in our own field. But when it comes to finance, of course, a lot of DJs aren't, studying finance.
Well, you
You
could
know,
say the same for anybody who has studied finance but hasn't studied Bitcoin yet.
Bitcoin,
Know just as
exactly,
much as any other person on the street because you literally don't understand
exactly.
money at that point.
And it's so confusing, right? To traditional finance, Keynesian economics, it's all I don't, for lack of a better term, it's a lot of nonsense. It's a lot of divide this with this percentage and this points, and it's made to confuse you. So
Yes.
you get yourself in a 30-year mortgage, and you don't understand what's going on, and then an incident like 2008 happens, and you
Do
lose the
you
house.
remember The Big Short?
I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies, and my parents, actually, we lost two properties, or three, two or three properties during 2008
You know,
financial crisis, and we
so
had
I
good,
wanna mention that
obviously good
because
rents.
yeah, I wanna mention that because, but number 1, I love that part in the movie where Margot Robbie is explaining finance in the bubble bath because she's like, "This is the part where people tune out because they make it so boring that nobody will wanna listen." So she explains it because she's like, "Okay, now you'll pay attention." So that literally was what you were talking
Such a
about. Number
great spot.
2, that's a really great point that you make about your parents and the housing crisis and losing your home is because so many people out there think of the boomers being wealthy and every boomer is wealthy. Those are the boomers who bought the property and stayed in the
Early,
property and they were able to hold on to the property.
before
But there's so
2008.
many boomers who got screwed. Like they were like, "Oh, I'm going to buy more house than I can afford because the government tricks you into thinking you should or you could." So people lived beyond their means and they got everything taken.
It's depressing. It's
Yeah.
depressing coming from a Beverly Hills boy, and I'm very proud to be from Beverly Hills because that's my story. And I very, very, I love Los Angeles so much. But it was tough, when I went through a lot of financial ups and downs as a kid, and it still hasn't completely gone away. I don't want to get too into it because it's a little it gets my emotions going,
Mhm.
but it's still difficult till this day. I feel like we're still dealing with stuff
Mhm.
from bad decision making,
Mhm.
from thinking the game could go on forever, to
Mhm.
not realizing a good savings technology.
Yes.
uh if
That's exactly because it reminds me of so many people that I've spoken to. Because it's not like, okay, you have these parents and your parents are wealthy and you're going to be fine because your parents did great. It's like, no, so many parents have struggled and they got manipulated and they've lost things and that has affected the children because the children had to grow up seeing their parents either fighting about money and then hating the idea of money or it's a very stressful topic for people and yeah, seeing your I think that's one of the things that got me thinking about Bitcoin was I was trying to think, well, a lot of people that have money, like long-term wealth, they've invested in the stock market, where a lot of the people in my culture would just try to save money. It wasn't very many stock investing people that I grew up around. Um, so then I thought, okay, investing is the way to go. But then you start to learn Bitcoin and you think, okay, then you just realize what money really is, what value really is, and not being able to lose that value through time and not have it manipulated. So,
I love
um,
that.
yeah, because people, and Bitcoin teaches you to save money again, because you can't save
100%.
actual money. Like that doesn't work.
Such a good point.
Hmm.
Can I add one thing on there? I wanna
Yeah.
say, and I don't wanna sound, ignorant, but, I believe, like, the stock market is, in a sense, a scam for the average person because you're always told, "Diversify, diversify, diversify," and then you have a portfolio with, 20 different things. They're all going up like, very, very small. You might have one that hits, but it's not all your money's not in that bag, and then you have some that go down, of course, some that stay stagnant, and you're trying to pay attention to these classic, you know, financiers that say, diversification, but they don't tell you study a company in and out. Look at the company. If you do you love Nike? Do you think Nike is going to continue being the number one shoe company in the whole world? Do you think people are going to continue to buy shoes? When I was a kid, that was one of my biggest um vices. I was buying too many damn shoes. I was
Hmm.
getting these shoes weekly, and I couldn't get enough of them. It was the high of getting the new shoe,
Hmm.
showing off the new shoe to the local friends. Girls telling me I love the way you have nice shoes, and the whole thing, manipulated my mind. I need this stuff, and
Hmm. That's so
it's just
toxic.
crazy.
Yeah.
I've kind of forgot where I was going with that, but
No, it's
yeah.
because you believe in a company. Do you believe
Do you?
like,
Yeah.
do you
Where?
study the
Where?
company?
So that's the main thing, right? And then, with Bitcoin, we're so lucky because there is no CEO. We have our situations with the op return, the block wars, and all the other stuff that's taken place in Bitcoin. But it's more of a democracy. Everybody gets to,
Mhm,
talk smack if they don't like something, or you're seeing the op return wars going on right now, and it's been pretty crazy in my opinion.
mhm,
And so with Bitcoin, we don't have to worry about a CEO. Is the Bitcoin son, is Satoshi's son gonna lose faith and print up more coins? Is the son of Satoshi's son gonna
yeah,
change? We don't have any of that. So, we're so blessed with Nike, with Apple, with I thought IBM was the best computers when I was a kid.
mhm,
They were always in schools, and where is IBM now? I don't even know if they're still creating computers.
right,
But in the tail, it goes on. Michael Saylor says it. A great company's 100 years, or
mhm,
maybe something like that. A great technology protocol is 1,000.
mhm,
So we're so lucky to be in Bitcoin.
yeah,
And what an easier life it is than coming home and trying to pretend you're Warren Buffett. Getting a little pen out at night and going through all the companies you're invested in and trying to figure out
oh my
what's
god,
good, what's bad. And meanwhile, I'm trying to DJ. DJing, you got to do the clubs, then you got to come home and prepare, your nights out. And there's a lot of preparation in DJing. And then I'm doing lessons and stuff like that too. So if anybody wants to reach out to me, any Bitcoiners out there want to learn a side hustle, DJing could be the perfect one. And yeah, just
yes,
reach out to me. And
that's
so
amazing,
you got so much to do. I mean, and then if you want to get ahead, you want to have a side hustle. So you want to do your 9 to 5, and then you want to have a side hustle like Uber eating, or
mhm,
babysitting. You can name it, whatever it is, to try to stack some extra sats or whatever. You don't have time to come home and pretend to be Warren Buffett.
so true.
You just don't.
That is such a great point because instead of saying, okay, I'm a DJ. I'm going to work. I'm doing this. And then I'm spending every other minute of my day stressing out about how I'm going to grow this money into the future and looking at this stock, looking at that stock, being manipulated by this, company or, um, advisor, and all these people are advising you and nobody knows anything about really what money is. They know about stocks and they know about options and they know about creating more stock options. And,
So true.
and it's
Is it
just
Nvidia
such
this
a
year? Is it
waste of your precious time, so if you honor your time and if you care about your time and realize how precious it is, and because your time is your money and your money should be sound. So it's one of those things where you save all that extra time instead of trying to figure this thing out. Satoshi did that for us. He figured it out. He gave us a tool, and like Sailor says too, it's the best tool for the job. And you don't need to diversify. He gave it to us. We can literally save that extra time and go work for Uber or any other side hustle you can do and stack more sats, So it's like,
I love it.
if you weren't doing that, you'd be wasting the time trying to figure it out still.
I love it. What really got you into Bitcoin? I'm sure you said this on podcast before, but was there a certain moment that just was like, this is it, I'm going all in? I heard you say about the investing earlier and stuff, but
Yeah. I
what
mean,
was
it
it?
was mainly a lot of accumulation of events, but mainly it was having a family, having kids, and it was seeing parents struggle, seeing parents not knowing how to invest, but also when COVID hit, it was during COVID. And again, when you see crisis happen, it kind of opens your eyes to things. So I had a cousin that would talk to me about Bitcoin, and I never really listened, and nobody in our family listened. I'm the first one who did. But he would talk to me about it occasionally, and I would kind of, it was like planting seeds, I guess. And then when we started getting our stimulus checks, I started looking into how many stimulus checks will the government be giving out? And it was like there is no limit to how much money the government can print. And that seemed like a brag. And I was like, that sounds really bad.
It
so
was a
when I
scary
told,
time.
yeah, so when I told my cousin that, he was just reminding me that, yes, every time you were to get a stimulus check or the government hands out money to anybody, whatever you have in your savings account is worth less, So that just really struck me. And then I thought about my house. Again, because I have kids, I was like, wow, my house has appreciated a good amount since we bought it. That's good. But then I really thought about what my kids will be able to afford one day. And I thought, how am I ever going to help them? How are me and my husband going to provide, wedding or college help or a future home? Like we're blue collar, we don't have that kind of money to just be able to help 3 kids in the future. And I felt
So
terrible.
beautiful. You got 3 kids though.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's so nice.
And they're my angels, you know what I mean? You wanna do everything for them. You want to be the like, you don't I don't wanna give them a stressful life where they're worried not only about not having help from their parents, but also when I get older, will they have to help take care of me? Because you know what I mean? We don't have.
So depressing. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so it's like
depressing.
you worry about their future because of you and because of all of it,
What we've
it
been
just
through.
scared and then when you think about how much the house is worth, I thought, okay, the house isn't it's you because they printed more money, you need more dollars to buy a house because they're worthless. So they're worth less. I always think worthless money worth less. Um
Such a good point. I love that.
yeah, so that was like my main like, okay, I understand Bitcoin. Even though I did understand it, I still got sucked into the mania and the shit coining for a few months.
Uh-huh.
But during Bitcoin's big drop to 16,000, right before that, it didn't happen during, thank God, but like intuition again, when I started to see Luna and FTX stuff happen during that year, I converted whatever crypto I had into Bitcoin.
Good
I
for you.
lost some on it, but I didn't ride it to the ground. You know what I mean? I
Good for
didn't.
you.
Yeah.
Good for
So I
you.
was I was happy about that. It was still very painful to watch Bitcoin drop, but that's when I fully ultimately believed in it was when it fell the lowest,
I
and
love that. That
yeah,
is so nice.
yeah.
I love
So
those kind of stories. That's so
right.
great.
Yeah. So it's like you build your conviction when everyone else kind of like it's crazy how you think that when everyone is thinking you're a lunatic and they're running away, you're like, no, this is coming back, and I fully knew it would. And I feel like it should have come back so much sooner, like we were talking about suppression. Like, I think we're still in that moment, even though it doubled since a year ago or something, it still feels like since I had that really big conviction moment in 2020 or 2021, whatever year that was when it really crashed. Um, it feels like we're still battling this force that's trying to suppress
So true.
the explosion, I
So
think.
true. It's like the
Yeah.
beach ball theory, right? I wake up every other day and I look, I don't try to look at the price every day, but I do have a ticker in my room, so I'm kind of forced to. But
Yeah.
I take a, I take a look and I say to myself, I know, it's just going to be 150 one day. I'm going to look over and it's just going to be 25K higher, 35K higher than it is today. And it's going to happen so fast, so quick.
Mhm.
When it is moving up really fast, I think it's going to move faster and I start getting
Mhm.
worried. The suppression thing is really funny because we were dealing with the Biden administration who was suppressing because of choke point 2.0. And now we're dealing with the Trump boys who are suppressing because they want to stack as much as
Mhm.
they can, right?
Exactly.
So it's like a suppression, and I'm sure Bitcoin is always going through that one number two, because and maybe number one somewhere in the world, I would have to say, but number two for sure, it's been happening. Probably, I mean, at one point nobody believed in Bitcoin in the mainstream media, right? They were it didn't seem like they did, at least, when 10, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, let's say, most people that were talking about Bitcoin in mainstream media didn't really believe in it. And they kind of showed that they didn't believe in it. So they were fighting it back then. It was like they didn't
Mhm.
believe in it. They were telling you that they don't believe in it. So that was, true uncertainty. People were like that were probably had, imagine how many coins you would have had 10 years ago if you were stacking, is seriously stacking. So, they were oppressing it then with FUD. And then, we get the Biden administration who's oppressing it with it's actually bad. We're going to take this away or do whatever we can to kill the off ramps and whatnot. And then
Right.
we got the Trump boys who are basically trying to grab as much as they can, and they're
Oh,
keeping
yeah.
it suppressed.
That is so true, and I 100% agree with you on that. And I also thought about something that you were saying that I wanted to look up, and I wanna share it if I can, really quick, and then I have to run because I gotta pick up my daughter from school.
No
So I
problem, no problem. This
but
was
I
such
just
a great interview. This
Yeah,
was a
thank
blast.
you. Thank you so much. Okay, real quick. So I think of Bitcoin as okay, where was I going with this? Human evolution, I wanted to compare because, you know, the way that you say that the price will just skyrocket overnight sort of thing, like we're just gonna be surprised one day when it actually does, like the beach ball theory, it's gonna just pop out, it's gonna go crazy. Because if you think about Bitcoin following some sort of law of nature, some sort of pattern that nature follows. And I guess, like you would say, those charts where you see technology growing and Bitcoin is growing faster than other technologies in the past. And it's looking like that S curve sort of adoption curve or something. But I just wanted to share this because this is a chart about human evolution and it looks very similar. Um, So I don't know if you could see it. I wish I could make this bigger, but this stinks. But there's a chart here. It says like
I
present
can
up
make it
here,
bigger.
past down here, and then loomers are here, New World monkeys, then orangutans, gorillas, chimps, whatever, and then you get to Neanderthals here. So doesn't that
Uh,
look like a parabolic line of evolution?
yes, yes, it does.
So like just to
I
think
love
how
that.
quickly humanity got from microorganisms, if you believe in human evolution or whatever, but
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
monkeys, to humans, it's like it grew like humanity evolved. Like if we are to a sort of technology on this earth, like if we are growing like Bitcoin is, it's like it is this parabolic growth period. So I think
It's
like
living
Bitcoin
and
follows
breathing.
nature,
It
Bitcoin will
is. It
grow.
really is. That's
Interesting.
that's cool. I love that. That is really cool, and it's really interesting how yeah, how fast the network builds, grows, and people add to it, with new podcasts, with new meetups, with new
Hmm.
applications like the Orange Pill app. there's just so much going on right now, and it is, a living and breathing organism. When you just see the nodes across the map,
Yeah.
more people are coming into the into to be node runners.
Mhm.
More businesses are running nodes,
Mhm.
and more companies are adopting Bitcoin standards. So this
Right.
is crazy, and it is beautiful to see. I want to end it with one last thing: how Bitcoin creates better people. Because if you see the bright orange future, it's not you're not going to risk your freedom or do something that is you frowned upon. You're going to always keep your standards as high as you can because you know what's coming in the future. In Fiat land, there's so many movies we've seen where a guy's struggling and his buddy will come to him and say, here's a bag, drive this across town. And the guy doesn't want to do it, but then he looks at his daughter and his wife's about to, something, and then the house is going to foreclose and the whole nine. And then a bad
Mhm.
decision's made and a life is ruined if,
Right. Out of
you know,
desperation, right?
out of desperation. So the fiat desperation is quite depressing, and it puts a lot of people in harm's way in a sense, and
Mhm.
makes people not make the best decisions. So the bright orange future, if you believe in the bright orange future, you can be working any job and know that your money is going to last. Work hard, pay your bills,
Mhm.
spend less than you make, put the rest into savings, and that is the best way to do it. I really
Yes.
appreciate you having me on this podcast. Maybe we could have talked more about DJing, but I think everyone
It's
gets
okay.
it.
This was incredible. I wish I had even more time to talk to you, and I thank you so much for
I
giving
can't
me
wait
your
to do it
time
again.
today and your energy. And
What a blast.
I would love it if somebody that's not knowing what to do right now and maybe not working, if they just download the Uber app and sign up for an account and they start driving around for their first job while they're finishing this episode. That'd be fucking amazing. So,
I would love that. I would
and
love
buying
that.
Bitcoin
You
with
can
it.
literally get on in one day.
Yeah, right. You
That's the
can,
coolest thing. You download the Uber Drive app, and maybe two days or something like
mhm.
that. But you're driving so quick, and
Yeah,
you could start stacking Sats like that. Be
right.
careful if you're out there. Take your time and watch some YouTubes on Uber Eats driving for some
Mhm.
tips and tricks. There's a lot of great YouTubers out there that are giving some great knowledge for
And people love
anybody doing.
stacking sats on River, Strike, or Cash App. Those are some good ones. So, we're giving
Those
you
are
the
the only
tools.
ways to do it, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, I love Cash App. I do, just because it's
Mhm.
so simple. But
Yeah.
Strike is and Striking River are the way to go. But
Mhm.
this was
Thank
a
you.
blast. I feel like we dropped a lot of knowledge, and
Yeah, we did.
it was just a great time. Thank you
I
so
can't wait to
much.
put it out. I will let you know
Me
when it's
too.
coming out. Have a
Please,
great day.
please. Peace,
Take
yo.
care. Bye-bye.